Hi friends, I'm Yvonne and welcome back. In my last video, I said I would make a more detailed introduction video to my current fosters, so here we are. I'd like to start us off with the Onigiri kittens, and they actually had a really rough start to life. They were first diagnosed with calcivirus, which is kind of like the flu. It affects different cats just like the flu too, so younger kittens that haven't been vaccinated yet or senior cats that have weaker immune systems might actually die from the calcivirus, but adult cats that are healthy and have been vaccinated usually don't have a problem with it. The thing with calcivirus is cats that have been affected with it can be carriers of the virus for the rest of their life. So you have to be really careful not to introduce other cats that haven't been exposed to the virus to them, or complications could occur. And this is what caused me to have to separate my two groups of fosters. So if you remember, I had the Onigiri kittens. Well, I have the Onigiri kittens, and then I had Deuce and Ace. And what I had to do was keep the Onigiri kittens in my office, this room, and Deuce and Ace had free reign of my room as well as the kitchen slash dining area. And I became best friends with Bleach because I constantly had to disinfect everything. I constantly had to wash my hands and make sure to change my clothes after I was done working in my office and would go out. And honestly, it was kind of tough. I got kind of burned out from all of that because it's hard treating your own apartment like a COVID ward. Other than calcivirus, the Onigiri kittens also had coccidia, which is basically an internal parasite, a gut parasite that is very, very hard to treat. And because they were so young when they had calcivirus and coccidia, they actually almost didn't make it. So they're really lucky that they did. So you might be thinking, all three of the Onigiri kittens look incredibly alike, so how do you tell them apart? Well, the easiest way, for me at least, is to look at their face. Let's take a look at Tarako. If you look at the black marking on her right eye, you can see that it extends past her eye, but on the left side it doesn't, so it's asymmetrical, and that's the easiest way that you can tell her apart from her brothers. She also has a bit more white on her body, and her tail is the only one that's crooked, so if you see her from behind and you see a little bend in her tail, that's her. Also, she has a very cute face. Next, let's look at Okaka. He has very symmetrical markings on his face, and both of the black markings extend past his eyes, and so that's how you can tell him apart. He also has more black on his body and little white socks on both his front and back paws, and he has a really cute face. And third, we have Ume, whose eye markings do not extend past his eyes, and he also has a cute little beauty mark, which is adorable. And he also has a really cute face. The Onigiri kittens came to me because they needed more socialization work, and that's what I specialize in when I'm working with the JCN. Now, when they first came to me, they were about, I want to say 8 weeks old, which is at the end of the socialization window. And that was probably the best time for me to try to socialize them. But if you remember when I said that I'm new to fostering and there's a lot of things that I am still learning about, this is a prime example of that, because I didn't actually work as much as I should have with them. Now, I also had to deal with Deuce and Ace, which is a whole nother can of worms, and that's gonna be funny later. You'll see why, but they took up so much of my time and energy that I just couldn't work with the Onigiri kittens as much as I wanted to. Which brings us to now, 4 weeks later, that makes them 12 weeks old. And that's effectively outside of the socialization window, which it's not impossible to socialize kittens at this age, but it just takes more time and energy, which is what I'm investing a lot of right now. Tarako was the first one to start coming up to me to play or just to investigate, and I knew that it would be really easy to socialize her because of these traits, and I was right. Right now, she's doing really great, and there's not a whole lot I have to do with her. Hi. And she comes up to me. It's really sweet that she does this. Good job. Good job. Hi. You like being pet? You do. Look at your tail go. Look at your tail go. Okaka, on the other hand, is very playful, and he does have his moments of bravery, but when I try to approach him, well, this is Okaka, who will, well, see, run away when I try to pet him. Sometimes he lets me, but not quite there yet. As for Ume, he is alone in my office right now. I've kept him in his holding cage to kind of Stockholm Syndrome him to me, and I don't like it very much. It doesn't make me feel good that he's all here isolated, but it's one of the ways that you can use to force kittens to be more dependent on you and to get used to you faster. It's kind of a mixed bag right now because this is what he still does. This is Ume. He is still not very sure of me, and he'll usually hiss at me when I try to open the cage and pet him. See, but once I start petting him, he gets very mellow. And he might even start purring. What do you think, bud? Now, in order to get the Onigiri kittens more used to me, once Deuce and Ace went to their forever home, I switched up techniques to really focus on them. And so what I've been doing is hand feeding them 3 times a day, playing with them a lot, and cuddling them a lot. I recently got a blanket at the thrift store and I've used it to make a sort of sling that I can wear and put kittens in the little pocket that it makes. They can't escape from me now, which means that they will have to stay close to me, and hopefully this will speed up their socialization. What do you think Ume likes it? What do you think? Ume is still in my office, alone, by himself. Tarako and Okaka have this full reign of the rest of my apartment, which includes my room and also the kitchen/dining area. They're having the time of their life. They're just going everywhere and having fun, playing all the time, getting into mischief, breaking glass. Anyway, so they're fine, but eventually I would like to introduce Ume back into the mix so they can be together again, because Ume is very lonely and it's sad hearing him cry all the time. Okaka will just stay at the door and meow back at him. Tarako's just having too much fun to care about her poor brother, but you know how it is. Girls gotta play and stuff, right? Alright, so Deuce and Ace. At this moment right now, they're actually not in this apartment anymore, but with their forever home. Wait, forever family? So I don't have to deal with them anymore, but whew, were they something else. When they first came to me, they didn't have any problems, or so I thought. But as I kept taking care of them, I started noticing that Ace was losing weight and looking really scraggly. And this was after I had also taken in the Onigiri kittens and was doing all the hand washing and disinfecting and being really careful. But I had never done this before. I'd never needed to isolate cats and keep my house sterile as sterile as possible. So I was really afraid at that point that maybe I had messed up and I had introduced the calcivirus from the Onigiri kittens to Deuce and Ace. And even though they were vaccinated, there was still a chance that the symptoms could become fatal. Alright, so from here on out, I'm going to be talking about gut parasites and stuff, and I know I have a few friends who would rather not hear about this kind of thing. So if you are uncomfortable with that, then click to whatever timestamp I'm gonna leave at the bottom of the video. Probably not the top. So yeah, I'll see you guys back in a bit. Okay, so I'm freaking out and I take Deuce and Ace to the vet, and thankfully, because they don't have a fever and their appetite's great and their energy levels are fine, the vet didn't think that even if they had the calcivirus, that they were in any danger, which was great. But what was not great was the fact that their fecal test revealed that both of them had roundworm, which is a very common parasite that kittens usually get by eating dirt that has the roundworm eggs or from their mother. It just happens a lot when cats are outdoors, which, you know, they were when they were captured. And the reason why Ace was losing so much weight was because she also had coccidia, which, if you remember, is what the Onigiri kittens had, but that's not where she got it from, because the Onigiri kittens were clean and clear of coccidia before they came here. So I'm guessing she had it before she came to me. But that was the reason, plus the roundworms, she was losing so much weight and looking so, you know, poorly. Both of them got medications to deal with those worms, and I thought, yay, this is it. This is all I have to deal with now. Just their recovery, and it's going to be awesome. But it wasn't. About 2 weeks later, I was snuggling in bed with both of them when I noticed a little piece of rice on my shirt, which, you know, would be normal if not considering the fact that, one, I hadn't eaten rice the entire day, and two, it was moving. After a quick Google search and a very panicked message to one of my veterinary nurse friends, I discovered that it was tapeworm, and it had come from Deuce's butt. Now, this isn't really a pleasant thing to discover when it's like 12 at night and you're just, you know, getting ready to go to bed with your little foster kittens, but it is what it is, I guess. And so now I realized that Deuce and Ace were trying to play parasite bingo. Between the two of them, they now had roundworm, coccidia, and tapeworm, which, you know, I mean, it happens. You can just give them medication and deal with it, but it's not fun when kittens have parasites. But, you know, that's also life, I guess. Now, on top of all their parasite problems, Ace also had a toileting issue, and that was one of the major concerns that I had and the JCN had, because it's a huge deterrent to adopters. I was able to deal with it because I knew it was just temporary. Like, it sucked having to wash my duvet covers and my duvet like constantly every single time she peed in it. After like the third time or something, I bought a waterproof duvet cover, which was great, but before then I actually had to wash the entire duvet. And it was around the second or third time that she peed in my bed that we needed to take measures against that. So I had to block off my bed to make sure that they couldn't get into it when I wasn't in the room. And let me tell you, it is quite a feat to do because I have a loft bed and it has a stair system, not a ladder. So I couldn't just be like, no ladder for you, you can't go up now. No, I had to use a bunch of cardboard, make walls and barricades and block off this area and block off that area, to the point where I could barely get into the bed, like much less the cats. But what I've learned from fostering kittens is the phrase, when there's a will, there's a way, is incredibly relevant. Because when a kitten is determined to get somewhere or do something, there's not a whole lot you can do to deter them from doing it. And not letting them cuddle in bed was difficult for me too, because they are just such snuggle bugs. When they first came to me, I think it took them about 2 days before they found out how to get up onto the bed. And like after that, they were just sleeping in bed with me all the time. And it got to the point where they just like sleeping with me so much that when I settled down for the night, they would come up to the edge of the blanket and start pawing at it so they could crawl in, and they would settle against my chest or my arm, and they'd just be purring away under the blankets and sleeping with me. And it was honestly the sweetest and cutest thing ever. They really, really like cuddling, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to foster cats quite as clingy as them, but it was just the sweetest thing. So when I couldn't do that with them anymore, it was sad for all of us. I mean, I still do it when I'd be on the floor with them, but it's not the same, you know? But they're with their new owners now, and the last time I heard, Ace did pee in the bed, but her new owners have taken measures against that. Oh, by the way, they're not Deuce and Ace anymore. They're actually Coffee and Tea now, which I think is super adorable. It just totally matches their coloration. You can definitely just tell who they are at a glance. Totally forgot to mention that. But yeah, now they're Coffee and Tea. But before they went off to their forever home, I actually had another medical scare with them because while they were with me, they had to get spayed and neutered, which is a pretty standard procedure, and usually there aren't any complications, except this time there was. In this case, it was actually Coffee who had more issues, and what happened was after his surgery, he didn't eat and he started throwing up a lot. And it was really scary because when kittens and cats don't eat for about a day or two, they can get what is called fatty liver disease. And that just means that the body has entered starvation mode, and cats don't deal with starvation mode very well, and it could become fatal really fast. I took him to the vet, we got him a drip, and he got a shot of anti-nausea medication. And after we went back home and cuddled a little bit, he got up, he went to his food bowl, and he started eating. And not gonna lie, but I started crying because I had just been so stressed and so scared for him. But after his trip to the vet and his medication and stuff, he was totally fine. And within the next few days, both he and his sister were back to normal, back to running around, causing havoc, and eating me out of house and home, and I was so happy. But they're doing great. Their new owners are absolutely lovely people. They just love the cats, and I'm so happy for that. So yeah, those are my current and I guess past fosters. I'm still working with the Onigiri kittens, but I have actually stopped feeding them with my hands because kitten teeth are sharp and human flesh fragile. And this is something I have learned the hard way too many times. It's not like they're maliciously trying to eat my fingers off, but when they're hungry and they just take a big chomp, sometimes what they chomp isn't the food, but my fingers, which puncture easily and bleed a lot. So I've stopped doing that. Instead, I've switched over to clicker training. So I just use a spoon and a plate, and they get their food that way without coming in contact with my poor fingers, which, you know, like, I'm lucky that I haven't gotten an infection yet, but yeah, I don't want to keep pushing my luck. Speaking of clicker training though, I am recording the process for that, so hopefully one of these days, within the next 5 years, I'll get that up, and you can also learn how to train your cats to do tricks. And it's fun, it's adorable, and it's just so rewarding for both you and the cat. And it's just a little hobby I like to do with my fosters, because if I'm going to be keeping them for a while, might as well do something fun with them, right? And yeah, that's it for my video this time. Thanks so much for coming back. I'm glad to see you again, and I will see you next time. Bye.